Welcome to the Team ASCOT's August 2019 show and tell, where we're just going to touch on some of the highlights of the work we've been doing during the month of August. So here's our team dashboard. So starting off looking at the amount of activity that there's been in the HardCat database. So again, we can see this month there's been a lot of updates in the database, some 4,515 updates within the HardCat database. Again, a lot of this has been or can be kind of related to the ongoing work with the laptop refresh. So as we're allocating new laptops within that refresh, and then claiming back the laptops that are handed in by the users. All of this obviously needs to be maintained and controlled within our asset database. So there's been over 200 laptop record updates throughout the month of August. There's also been about 1,400 updates relating to desktop asset records, which can kind of be attributed to the various kit moves that are going on across the estate. So again, it's very important that when we're moving desktops around that we capture that information in HardCat so we know where our kit is and we can clarify that it is still in use, etc. Moving on to the throughput of work by the asset provisioning arm of the team. So again, we can see the team have been really busy. So it's the most records they've updated per month for this financial year. So staggering 409 records passed through the team during the month of August. Again, some highlights there. So this included the provision of 157 requests for peripheral IT kit. So that's things like specialist mice, keyboards, Skype headsets, etc. And the team also provisioned 114 requests for software. So again, the team filled all of those requests for software. They check the business justification for that software. They'll do some sanity checking to see if there are any spare licenses available. If not, then the team will go through their procurement route, so that approved procurement route via SEC to then procure those software licenses for the individuals. Looking at the growth in the allocation of mobile devices, again we can see that kind of continual growth of requests for mobile kit that the team are getting now, on the back of that strategy across the business to make our workforce more flexible. So on the back of that, we do see a lot more requests for mobile kit. So 57 requests been provisioned this month. That included 17 smartphones that the team allocated and about 40 laptops. Moving down to the configuration management arm of the team. So again, just looking at the number of new config items added into the configuration management database this month. So we can see a further 174 new config items been added into our configuration management database. And I know that quite a bit of work was done around mapping out our JBoss technical service. So some of these new config items were relating to the clusters at Gladiator House within our JBoss platform. So that's just a snapshot from one of the configuration diagrams where that information is now put into use. Continuing along the theme of technical service configuration diagrams, so the team are going through this process of looking at each of the technical services that we use across DDAT and then mapping the underpinning config items for each of those technical services. But on the back of that work, the bit that really adds value is the mapping of these configuration diagrams, which are then put to use across the support team so that they can see what config items support what technical services and the interdependencies between them. So the team have been working on a further 3 config diagrams this month, and I say these do get very complex very quickly. So the team have really been focusing on the database technical services throughout the month. So they've had a number of meetings and workshops with the technicians that support our database technical services, things like DB2, SQL Server, etc. There's also been, or there's starting to be, some focus around the WAN and Wi-Fi services. So they set up meetings with the network guys to try and start mapping some of that information out. So below is just an extract of the WAN technical service, so you can see, the complexities of those mappings. It is quite a mammoth task that the guys are taking on here, and they're doing a great job of progressing that through and working with each of the different support teams to map that information out. So we've got another metric here, which really is one of the metrics we use for kind of showing the performance of our configuration management processes. So the theory being that if our config information is good, then we should see like a high percentage of changes with config items attached to them, because that user journey of adding config items should be easy if all of the information's in there. So again, this month we can see that there's been quite a lot of change activity this month. In fact, it's the most change records that have been logged in a calendar month this financial year. And despite that, there's been maintaining of the 75% rate of change records with CIs attached. So that's all good news, and it kind of backs up the investment in the configuration management work that we're doing. Moving on to the service management system support arm of the team, you can see again another very busy month in terms of BAU in resolving of incident and RFS records. So the team resolved 125 incident and RFS records during the month. And again, very impressive that not one of those incidents or RFSs actually breached its SLA fixed time. So we get kind of, that shows the level of support that we're giving across the business for all of the different areas that now rely on our configuration management system, on our service management tool to support their IT and business processes. And finally, just looking at the number of actual changes to the Marvel system. Throughout August, the team implemented 52 changes to the Marvel service management system. This included the first of a number of kind of changes to the system to support our service improvement plan that we're doing around improving the new joiner process. So there's a piece of work that led to some change to this system to kind of increase the visibility of new joiner records. So it was very, very clear what the actual start date of that new joiner was. So the team have added a new attribute into those records that is clearly visible from the front page of the Marvel record and could then be passed as a column header. We worked with the various support teams that are involved in that new joiner record and set them up with request lists on their Marvel homepage so they could see all in-flight new joiner records, regardless of who they were assigned to, all sorted by that start date. So the idea being that all those people involved in the process, they all had an eye on when these joiners were starting, so that records weren't being assigned to them at the last minute, and that visibility of the record didn't come as a surprise. So as soon as those new joiner records are logged, they fall into this list that everyone in the process sees, so that everyone's working to that start date. We've also introduced some new portal pages. So we've introduced the idea of almost like an IT kit catalog within my self-service, so it makes the user journey of logging any requests for our IT hardware kit much clearer, and it gives us then the capability to report at a more granular level of the types of kit we're supplying for our users. So that's just a quick snapshot of that new joiner kit request, and you can see that's all sorted by start date. Again, that list is made visible to all people involved in the new joiner process. And I say there's just a better view of our new IT request options, IT kit request options, as they're shown in the My Self-Service system. So again, it makes it nice and easy for the user. They just select the type of kit they want, they click on that, it takes them to the relevant form. They only need to fill in the relevant details for that particular type of kit, and off they go, and the requests come to us and we fulfill the orders via our approved procurement route. So just to give you a snapshot of what's coming up in September, so what we're actually working on during our September sprint. So here's our new Kanban board, which we've got in the team. So just a couple of things we're working on. There's a real focus on the software license process. So there's going to be an internal audit on the software license process. So there'll be a number of improvement activities from that the team will be working on. From a Marvel perspective, we're working with the independent complaints review team on building them a very bespoke portal to enable them to log their very specific support needs. There's also work going on to provide a portal for the new Learn Hub service that will be going live or being rolled out during September. Again, we're looking to kind of integrate those pages directly into the Learn Hub system itself. So from a user journey perspective, they won't have to come out of the Learn Hub and go into My Self-Service to report issues. They can do that directly from within Learn Hub itself by passing the various My Self-Service URLs directly into that system. So some good work going on there. And I say the config guys will be continuing to map the various technical services they're looking at. So they'll carry on the work with the DB2 stuff, the JBoss stuff that's been started. They're looking at Oracle and some of the Apache services, etc. And there's also the team have been subject to a mobile device IT asset audit as well. So on the back of that, there's going to be a number of improvements just around data capture within Hardcat, and we're going to be looking to introduce some improvements to the processes of how we allocate mobile phones across the estate. So again, we'll be liaising with the LSAs on the changes to that. But that's our show and tell for August. Hope you found that useful. So as always, any feedback or questions on the work we're doing, please come and have a chat with us. Alternatively, you can email us on that address. Thank you for listening.